Hi everyone, Michel here with Michel Real Estate, and in this video we'll be going to Bridel. Bridel is located towards the northern end of Luxembourg City. It's not too far from Luxembourg City and it has a quite high price range. So what's going on with Bridel? Let's have a quick look at where it's located, what the infrastructure looks like and why those prices are so high. So without further ado, let's get right into it. Alright, Bridel is located in a nicely forested area towards the northern part of Luxembourg City. Now let's zoom in a bit and have a look at the infrastructure, because that's quite interesting. Because Bridel is a commune which has both Bridel and Kopstal included in it. There is a main road which comes from Rollingengrund and goes towards Bridel. It's this one that goes through the forest. So here we have Rollingengrund and it goes straight to the forest, up the hill towards Bridel. Interestingly enough, we have another vein which comes across Bridel, just scrapes by it, which goes towards the highway. That is one of the main reasons why it is so well connected in terms of automobility. However, there is no tram passing by, there are no train stations. There are, of course, buses. So, what makes Bridel so exclusive? Because it is one of the most expensive areas outside of Luxembourg City. Of course, due to its location, that is one of the reasons why it is so expensive. But another reason is quite simply because it is located amongst forests. So here we can see that all of this is forest area which cannot be developed. So you would have to make a lot of efforts in terms of political decisions in order for this little city to expand. Here towards the east, we have then a valley. That valley is quite steep and drops down and goes towards Beggen and Steinzel. So here we can see Bridel as it's located, and it is basically seated at the top of a hill. And that makes it quite interesting because we cannot further develop towards the right nor towards the left because of this beautiful forest over here. And further up north, it drops down into a valley and goes into Kopstal. Kopstal is located here. Let me have a better look here. So this is Kopstal over here. We have Bridel in the corner and we can see that this is located in a valley. That valley is quite steep in some sense. So sunlight is a little bit more limited, but furthermore, it is not something that can be expanded. Bridel is the same. So this is both one single commune. So the commune of Bridel is also including Kopstal. Now, if we will start looking at the real estate market, we will understand that there's also a difference between them, although sometimes buyers don't think that there is, but there is a clear distinction. Location is always key. So also in here, we will have a quick look at what is located within this area. So Bridel is quite decentralized. There is no village center. There is not an area where there's a lot of shops, and we only have the main street, which comes from this roundabout, goes into Bridel, and along this street we have a few shops, bakeries, what else do we have? Some doctors, and of course we have a restaurant on this corner here. There is also a, how should we call this? It used to be, I think, I'm not certain about it, but I think there was something of a mining, a sort of mine going on over here. This is great if you are a developer and you're willing to take on the risk of whatever might be in the soil. But furthermore, there are some nice little areas like this one. So this is a quite neatly secluded little area where there's beautiful and expensive houses. Most of these homes are rarely on the market for very long and prices are quite steep. Then we have homes like these, which are also great because you have a great view onto the valley, and that's something that people will definitely pay a premium for. So looking at the markets, we can see many different things available. The first thing that we should notice immediately is that we have here the map of Bridel, the commune, but we should fine-tune it to Bridel, the city itself. So let's do that. Have a quick look here. Bridel, not all of the commune, just the area. And here we can see that there's a bit of a distinction between what is Bridel and what will turn into Kopstal, because there are some properties for sale on top of the hill, but it actually belongs to Kopstal at the bottom of the hill. Interesting, I know, and kind of confusing, and sometimes this means that the prices in this area are exactly the same as in Bridel city itself. So let's look at the first property. Here we have a small studio, I think it is. It's not a big property at all. Quick look. We will probably not see much excitement going on here. This is a small property and we're looking at something over 10K per square meter, quite expensive. And as you can see, it is a kitchen which still needs some loving, and it has no windows, quite sad to look at. And this is something that will be very difficult to sell, because usually it's something that you would use for a rental. And rentals in this area are quite uncommon. People do rent there, of course they do. There's a deficit in the market, so rentals go like crazy. But it is difficult for people to move around unless they have a car. So if there's no parking included in this offering, and I don't see it, that means that it will be difficult to sell. Moving on to the next property, and as you can see, most of these are apartments, and we're making quite big jumps from 385 straight up to 659K. And here we will have a apartment, which is probably from the year 90s to 2000. It's not mentioned, unfortunately. And this property is, I would guess, it needs an update. The kitchen is quite old, and we are looking at something quite small, again, for the price that we're paying. The windows are quite low, for no other reason that the roof is basically obstructing most of the view. So it needs some attention. It has the 90s style represented all over the apartment, and I believe that here we should actually have a bit of a price reduction, because it still needs to be updated, especially the kitchen. Great, let's move on to the next property. So here we will go into a property which is a penthouse, and penthouse in Luxembourg does not mean that you have a wraparound terrace. It just means that you are on the last floor, but you could have neighbors left and right, just no one above you. So let's have a quick look here. Not many pictures. We have a fireplace, which means that it was probably built in the year 2000s, maybe even in the 90s. Again, we do not see exactly when that was built. 2001, so I was close. And here we can see then what we are dealing with. So the fireplace takes up most of the room. The kitchen is separate, so I will make a video about kitchens, because kitchens, whether they are separate or open kitchens, I believe that the separate kitchen is going to make a comeback, because developers have been taking away way too much square footage from our homes, of our apartments, by creating open kitchens. I think that's done. That should be finished, and nobody really wants the smell of food all over your living room. Anyways, the kitchen absolutely needs an update, but it is functional. It could work. And the sink, quite small. Bathroom, definitely from the 90s. And the tiles are not the most expensive ones. I don't really understand the layout. I don't appreciate it. I don't understand it. It's not something that I would choose. Like here we have a living room and the bedroom on the other side, and then we do have a terrace which wraps all around the front part of the apartment, but I don't understand this couloir. I understand that it's a design that was simplified. I do appreciate that we might actually have the opportunity to create maybe an open kitchen by changing where the bathroom is, and if it's a bathroom that can be accessed towards the bedroom, an open kitchen here by removing this wall. It is possible, it has opportunities, but then you're looking at a price range which is way higher than this. And unfortunately, we cannot create a second bedroom here, because you would have to make a hallway which wraps around like this, goes to here, and then create another bedroom here. which leaves only an office space here, so too difficult. Not something I would look into for an investment, but you could fix it up quickly and rent it out even faster. Moving on to the next one. So this is a bit more modern, but we're looking at 55 square meters for almost 700K. Way too expensive, and that is because it is a more recent build. We probably have floor heating here because I don't see any radiators anywhere. We have a bit of a terrace, and that is about it. So not much effort here from the agency for pictures. I understand that you maybe had to do it quickly, but please, we do need to see a kitchen at least. Okay, let's forget about this property. It's overpriced anyway. Moving on to this one, which here we have taken a vertical picture for the first one on a platform that favors basically horizontal taken pictures, and here we have something that is quite recent, but this street is well known to me, and that street is a main street which goes down towards Kopstal. So it is a lot of movement. This is the same apartment. So these two properties, these two agencies are actually competing on this property, and we are missing a kitchen. So this is a completely new build, and the kitchen should be here because that's where the tile is, but we don't have a kitchen. So on top of this price, we have to add the price of a kitchen. Now this could be something of about 5,000 euro. It could also go up to 10,000 euro. What I don't like is that they already defined how much kitchen you can put in here. So you're quite limited, and this is what I just mentioned about the kitchens, is that they want you to basically have a living room and dining with a kitchen in something that is less than maybe 15 square meters. I do not appreciate these new designs. Okay, let's get back to the list. Looking at something a bit older, so this is 720,000. We are looking at 93 square meters. That's quite nice in terms of price, but I bet that there will be some renovation works that need to be done here. And I guess we will also have at least some car space. Yes, we do. Perfect. So we have 2 parking spots. Now that's something that you really must have in Bridel, not because there's not enough parking on the street. It's rather that a lot of people that come towards the restaurant or to the kindergarten park their cars on the street. Some even park there and take the bus to continue towards the city. So it could be quite difficult to find a parking spot. We have 12 pictures for this property. It looks quite okay. We have nicely designed doors. It looks a bit older. I bet that this is more towards the 80s. Let's have a quick look here. It's not in the characteristics. Maybe it's in the description. I don't see the year, but from the energy passport and the fact that this is on mazout or fuel means that this must be at least from the 80s going further back in history. Mazout is not the greatest, but I don't believe that Bridel itself is actually connected to a gas pipeline. Inside we can see that this is, I would guess this is 50s, 60s. Probably. These floor tiles, which are basically hardwood, is rather from the 60s. They did change the doors inside though. These are 90s lights. And this is quite spacious. We are in a good area. Oh, this needs a lot of attention. Okay, yeah, so you need to redo the bedrooms, the bathrooms, the toilets, and the kitchen. So this is a complete renovation. Clearly here we are looking at something that is correct in terms of price, and honestly, this is a good property. This is something that I would consider if I would have the budget. So even with minimum effort, this is absolutely something that you can renovate, and it has 2 bedrooms. This would rent fast. So investors, this is the one, buy it. Okay, moving on to the next one, which is actually, in my opinion, the same one. No, it's not. So here we have a competing property. It has a similar design on the outside with the garages underneath the property. We are looking at, again, 2 bedrooms for 81 square meters. Price is correct for that area, and we should have parking. If we don't, then it can't compete. We do not. Okay, oh no, there is. Okay, so we have 1 car garage, so what we call in Luxembourg a box, because it just looks like a box. Let's have a quick look inside. Marble tiles, quite nice. All doors. We have a kitchen from the late 80s to 90s. This is quite dark, so this was a design choice which probably made sense to the owner at the time to make it feel more like a chalet. But to be honest, this is a bit of an issue. And again, the black comes back in the curtains, in the dressing and in the linen as well, the bed also. This is a bit of a problem. Okay, so here we have a bathroom which has been redesigned. We can see that this is a bit raised to make sure that the water flows from the shower drain away, because probably here there was a bathtub back in the day. Here we have then the water counters. That's a bit of a problem if you would want to put the bathtub back in. But this is a bathroom which can be used as is. The second bedroom, which has also a balcony. This is a quite nice property. Something that does need attention, but again, something that can be renovated quite quickly, maybe even faster than the previous one, because you already have a bathroom ready to go, but the kitchen and the separate toilets is something to be redone. By the way, separate toilets. I mean, I understand that we're talking about something that is not that pleasant, but separate toilets are absolutely an advantage in a 2-bedroom apartment. If you have a 1-bedroom apartment or a studio, that's great and good to have only one toilet inside the bathroom. But I believe that in the future, we should go towards separate toilets. Again, it's just way more comfortable. Developers, please bring back the separate toilets. Okay. Moving on to something a bit more modern. Here we are looking at 785,000. We have 20 pictures, that's great. We're looking at 108 square meters. This is in Lucien-Vercollier. That's interesting in the sense that it's a good street, but I can see already an issue. So we are up here and this was built into a hill. Now I wonder whether or not that's north facing, then you will have no light whatsoever. Ever, even in summer, doesn't matter the time of the year. And we have some issues here with the facade. Of course, if you build into forest areas, you will always have basically the crap coming from nature, from the trees that will land on your facade. So every 5 years at minimum, you would have to redo it. Let's look at the pictures inside though, because I actually like this property. I don't like the pictures, is what I was going to say. I was a bit taken away here by this dark spot. Is that an issue from the light or is that actually mold? Ooh, this needs a lot of maintenance. This has not been maintained at all. It's great that it is straight into nature. For some people that might be a bit too claustrophobic, a bit too close and would like to have a bit of a view. Again, why do you take the pictures vertical? This is a horizontal platform. But what's going on here? Was this a doctor? What's carpet on the wall? I don't understand the design choices. Okay, so you want to sleep and work in the same time. Interesting choices. I would not go for this. This is a kitchen which is oddly shaped, or the picture is just oddly taken. There is no other picture, unfortunately. I would have taken it from a different angle so that I would get the picture with the kitchen, including with something here, which looks like a balcony door. And probably there's a window here. So the picture is taken in absolutely the wrong way. Whoa! Why is there a radiator floating like this in the room? What's going on? Okay. Why? Okay, focus. Okay, we have at least a bathtub. We have a... why is it there? I just don't get it. Okay, we have a bathtub. We have a shower. We have a double sink here. We have a bidet. Where is the toilet? We have a separate toilet. Okay. This is difficult, by the way. I don't know why the bidet is there. Why couldn't it be somewhere else? Why couldn't it be located here? Why didn't they put the radiator straight under the window as it's supposed to be? So many questions here. So this, I understand now that this is not a newer property. They just actually repainted and redid the facade of this property, and it already has stains. So yeah, that's what you get from living so close to the forest. It is a property which I would consider as a fifth option. I mean, this is difficult, even for the resale. I mean, even the owner probably has issues selling it for this price. It's a difficult property. So you can see that here, even the 108 square meters does not matter for the price that it is being offered, just the issues that it has, and probably has issues elsewhere as well. It's going to be difficult to sell. So moving on to the next one. So this is just under 10K per square meter. We are having it on the third floor. I think that this is on the main street. It seems to be. Okay, so this is again a penthouse. The tiles here need to be cleaned. That's not a big issue, but here there is humidity stains, meaning that there's water infiltrating before it hits the gutter and basically leaves a stain. That is an issue that will at some point become a bigger issue. And here we have then probably something which is a common garden for everyone in the property to use. That's quite okay, that's nice. A newer kitchen. We still have the old design, but I believe that here we have put in new windows. So maybe there are new floors in the bedrooms as well. There's a quite tight separate toilet, but the bathroom is redone. Okay, and we have a garage. This property, not much to say about it. I just think that it is a little bit expensive for what it is, but other than that, on the interior, everything is okay. On the exterior, I see some issues, and if those issues are not being taken care of by the co-owners, that means that the co-owners are either not serious or there's no money, and that would be a bit surprising in terms of Bridel property owners not having money, but maybe it has all to do with the syndic, so the company that takes care of the property, and that they are not doing their work properly. In my opinion, the issues here are more on the exterior than they are on the interior. The interior is pretty okay, well renovated. Maybe the rooms could have been a bit bigger, but then you have a great living room. To me, great property, but might have some issues with the co-ownership. Okay, finally we have a house here. So we are looking at a 915K house. This looks like something from the late 60s. And it has some issues. Of course it does, it's from the 60s. So here we have some water issues. We are looking at a hideous garden, which is very tiny. And on the inside, everything has to be redone. I do like this floor though. That is a nice pattern that I haven't seen before. But of course that's me, that's what I like. Those doors are absolutely the cheapest that they could buy back then. Here we have something that, okay, so what they did here is that they have basically a buanderie, so washing and laundry room, together with a bathroom. Now the tiles are okay, but there's no shower curtain, so of course you will wet this entire floor. That's why they put the little drain here. Yes, this was definitely an elderly person that lived here and had nice decoration, which only that person could love. Here we have a kitchen with a stone countertop, so that's quite valuable, and this will be something that can stay for the next 5 to 10 years. Perfectly okay. And it is a separate kitchen as well. But then all the other rooms need some attention. So this is something that you can renovate and maybe even sell for more. Even the bathroom at the top part could maybe be retiled on top of these tiles, although it would still show that it is not the best or newest design choice. But this is something that you could create value in quite quickly. The exterior on the back end is not great. There are some low hidden away. Okay, yeah, here you can see some issues with the water on this terrace. So this should have been put away towards the left and drained down into the garden. This is a bit of an odd choice. Maybe this was added later on. Okay, moving on. Hopefully there are more houses. So this is something that has sold recently. This is a new development property. This is, no, it's an apartment. Yes, so this is an apartment which I actually know where it is located. Let's have a quick look. So this is where the where the restaurant is, Bridel, and here we have then Rue Vercollier, and yes, here it is. This is the property in question. So this is where it is. Am I right? I'm not wrong. So this has been sold. We are looking at 989 for 100 square meters. I have some inside information because I know another owner in this building, and my inside information is that they have tried to sell it over 1 million because they have bought it at over 1 million. I mean, plus, I mean, we're looking at maybe 1.3, 1.4 in the best times of the real estate market before it went into this small correction. I'm saying small correction because actually it was a big correction for this person. Here we are looking at something that was probably bought for 1.4 and now sold for under 1 million. Ouch, that hurts. Looking inside, we are looking at a property which is well maintained, has great design features, beautiful kitchen, open floor plan as you guys like it nowadays, but I start to despise. Why would you take a picture of these bottles? Maybe there was an artist living here and they absolutely wanted to have it in the ad. Why am I looking at a kindergarten picture here? Maybe that's the view. I'm not sure if because this is actually the view. This is not the apartment that you will be seeing or buying. And this is a nice property with some great design choices, and they have used modern features and they have shown them quite correctly. But again, they sold it cheaper than they bought it. Okay, moving on to the next one, 995, not sold yet. It's a new property, currently listed. For 121 square meters, you get 3 bedrooms. We are reaching towards the million, and this property looks quite okay, has a lot of space, at least in the dining area. So this is a new facade, meaning that this property is not too old. What are we looking at here? 2011, that's when it was built. And at least here the developer has given the owners a lot of space in terms of living and bedroom space, but I can see here that there's a radiator, so there's no floor heating. And here we have then the bathroom, which only has a bathtub and a toilet which is oddly hidden away. But what is this? Am I looking at a second? Yes, so there's also a shower room. There's a second bathroom. Yeah, here we go. There's one with a shower and one, and they both have toilets. So that's great. That's actually not too bad. But I believe that it is located on the main street. That's a big turnoff for most buyers. Too bad. Okay, moving on to a triplex. Triplex in Luxembourg means that it's an apartment with 3 floors, not like a multiplex or triplex in the US, where basically it means that you have a property with multiple apartments in it. So looking at this property, this is a bit of an older design, and it has an odd quirky shape here in terms of a, how do you say this? In French it's called a baie vitrée. I guess it's like a winter garden style, but in reverse. Usually it's towards the outside, here it's towards the inside. Okay. Okay, they try to separate this huge area by putting some sort of windscreen, and the TV is located on your left, which is a strange choice for a couch which faces towards the dining area. The kitchen is separate, but quite narrow, and has again an odd shape. Here we have like a nook. Strange choices here. Okay. I have difficulties judging this one. It is 136 square meters for 4 bedrooms, and it passes 1 million, which should be okay. But of course, these shapes are a bit strange. So maybe the layout is something that people don't really appreciate. Okay, we have brick glass here, which is something that I absolutely despise, and a floating staircase, which is, by the way, not secured on the back end. Okay. And I would guess that this is the hallway, and here we go then from one bedroom to another, from left to right from the corridor. The bathrooms are modern, nicely designed. The bedrooms are spacious, but there's something odd about this property. It has odd shapes. The rooms are, and it's under the roof. We have an air conditioning here, which is almost an industrial one. So, and here we have a fan. Okay, I would guess that since this is under the roof, that this is getting quite hot in summer, and that they try to... I'm not liking this property at all. It has issues with the windows. Somehow these windows are too small for what it is, for the bedroom, and then the other ones in the living room are quirky. Then these here have a rounded style, but the window itself is rectangular, so I don't get it. Is this a private garden? If it is, then it absolutely justifies its value. Est-ce qu'il y a un jardin? I don't see it anywhere. So maybe it's just a... here we go. Et au jardin, okay. But it doesn't say... Yeah, so this garden is a bit of a question. Is it private, or maybe a jouissance exclusive means that you don't own it, but you have the only one... You are the only one who has exclusive access to the garden, and only you can use it. But you cannot buy it, sell it. This might be the case here. So it's nice to have a garden. To be honest, to have a triplex is a difficult thing to own, because people that are looking into triplex could easily also buy a house and not be in a co-ownership. So that's always an issue with those 3 floors in an apartment style purchase. Okay, let's look at this house. This must be something that needs to be renovated. Yes, it does. So this is definitely something from the 60s, I would guess. And this house needs to be completely redone. And at this price point, 1.2 for 150, so that means that they are quite low in terms of price, but you would easily put another 150k into a property like this. So basically here you need to look at the plot of land, and that's not quite big. That's a bit sad. Yeah. If it would have been a bit bigger, okay, we have a plan pied here, which means that most of it is on the ground floor. That is something that people love nowadays, because you could endlessly live in it, and they try to also use basically part of the cellar up here under the roof. So this is a good property for someone who has the budget first of all, but wants to have something that they can renovate and turn into something even bigger. I don't believe that here you can build another floor on top, because these are jumelés, so they're twins, and they're probably mirrored. So this means that in terms of the zoning regulation, you probably cannot change a whole lot. And this has to be exactly the same as this part, apart from maybe the garage door, the facade colors. Too bad. Let's close these and move on to the next one. So here we have something that is also a house, and it has a bit of a garden. How big is the terrain though? Is there any size of the plot of land? 5.27. That's not too big. I mean, it's not too bad, but judging from what you get in terms of garden as opposed to what you get in terms of driveway into your garage and front garden, the house is not located in the right section of the plot. So let's have a look inside. This needs to be redone as well. Everything here, apart from the kitchen, well, this just needs a bit of paint. That green is hideous. But the kitchen itself, if you would paint this white, would all of a sudden be completely new, or look at least new. Okay, so the bathrooms and the tiles that are used are clearly from a different era and need to be changed. There's a lot going on here. This bathtub, it's going to be a lot of fun for these buyers to take that out, because this is completely bricked in. Good luck to you guys. But the colors that are being used are a bit too much. maybe it was rented, maybe they used it for a while for their own family, and then they became a bit older and wanted to move into an apartment. So this property, oh, it has a sauna. Okay, that's not bad. It's not too big though. Now, to be honest, it's a good property. I think that there's a bit too much in terms of price, that it's a bit too high for what you get. But the plot of land is big enough to maybe even go so far as to say, okay, let's just completely erase this existing property and build something new, modern, and in a good energy passport capacity to have efficient energy consumption, and basically reuse the plot of land and reutilize it. Of course, we are talking about a big budget here, but this house is located in the right place, and let's see where it is. I believe that this is 18 Rue des Carrefours. Let's have a quick peek here. Okay. Yes. Good area. So this is one of those areas that you definitely want to buy in, because here is a dead-end cité. If you don't know what a cité is, I suggest you go and look up that video of mine. It is secluded, it is quiet, and this is an area that people really love to live, and this is something that will keep its value indefinitely. This house has some potential, the plot of land maybe even more so. And then here we have something which is located on the main street, and this will be very difficult to sell. Let's have a look inside as well. Yeah, this is something that they try to pepper up a bit by putting some AI furniture in here and but it's just not gonna happen, guys. Yes, this is what it looks like. So even if you do AI, it's not gonna work. It's not gonna help you. Again, this is the living room. This is the living room how it should be. I mean, is this the bedroom? Anyways, this needs a lot of attention, and I don't understand even if this is, okay, so it's 5R. And yes, so the value here is basically because there is a possibility to build 2 houses on this plot of land. But 2 houses, looking at 900,000 in construction, plus 1.45 in purchase, you're looking at 2.3. That means that you would sell those houses for at least 2 million to make the bank happy in any sense. So it's not going to happen at that price point. Not going to happen. Here we have something that has been sold, 1.5. And we are looking at 225 square meters. So this is basically where you're looking at a property and saying, okay, if it's great and we want a great price, we also have to offer something to the buyers. So let's look inside and see if this is the case. It looks a bit like an architectural property. This is interesting. 1972. It reminds me a bit of a Belgian holiday home. Definitely does. These tiles, hideous. This needs to go. All of this needs to go. The furniture needs to go. The 90s cold. They want to have their house back. Yeah, this is out of hand. What are we looking at here? Maybe this is a plot opportunity. Again, it is. So this is a 10R plot, and so basically here, take away the house, just remove it, and by the way, this construction type is pretty easy to take apart, not that difficult. So this will basically be something, and there's no address, sorry guys, I can't show you where it is, I don't know where it is, but this is mostly built with brick, so this is something that is easily demolished. And the people that have bought this have probably bought it in order to make a beautiful property out of it. Okay, we are getting up to the 1.7s here. These are duplexes which are way overpriced. I will not go into them because it's not going to happen, guys. Sorry, this is not a property. But here we have something that is a bit more interesting. Here we are looking at a 1.7 with a pool. And Again, why the vertical picture in the beginning? Like, who are you? Be emo. Come on, you know, make an effort. 358 square meters. That looks a bit too much for the house that I'm looking at right now. So maybe they have added also the square meters of the garage and so forth. Yes, they did. See, this is the type of stuff that I can't stand. So here we have the square meters that are livable, and these are the square meters in total. So that's including the cellar, the garage, the heating room, whatever you have that is basically not livable. Same goes for anything that is under the roof and too low. So here they have just scammed the people and tried to get a better price for what it is. I don't appreciate this type of stuff. So, you know, to be honest, okay, great property, it's in a new construction and so on, but why lie to people? Don't do it. Okay, so this is a piscine hors sol, meaning that this is not a pool that has been built into the garden, and it is basically something that you have to walk up a couple of steps to get into the pool, because the pool is just a basin which has been placed into the garden. It has not been built in. The filtration system is either included or underneath this piece of wood here. It's not something, no, I'm not liking it. I'm not liking it in terms of how we're trying to sell it. It's not something that I would choose to do. Moving on to this property, if it's not the same one, it is exactly the same one, so I'm not going to consider it at all. And these are all new development villas. So here we are going a bit out of the norm. We are looking at villas at 1.7. Most of us mortals are not capable of buying those. But hey, why not? We can look at the rendering real quick. Usually it doesn't help at all. Okay, yeah, so we get 3 pictures. I mean, how do you sell this? This is not how you sell anything. Can you at least make more renderings, give floor plans, maybe do a virtual tour or whatever? I mean, this is not something that should be sold as such, but I guess you are a developer and you want to save costs and not do anything for the buyers. Looking at this property, here we have something that is maybe a bit more interesting than all the other properties. We're looking at 200 square meters, under 2 million. Maybe just from the first pictures I can tell that maybe this is something interesting. Oh, it is. Look at these beautiful big windows here. Now that's something interesting because they're basically having floating floors. So it's an architect's home. Quite pretty, different, something that people will appreciate because it's not something that you see every single day. And there has been effort put into this in terms of design. I'm liking this. I'm not liking this picture. I can see you here in the reflection. So next time as an agent, open the door, then you take a picture. We can see it's a shower room anyway. Also, try to take it in vertical with a wide angle lens. Don't do it like this. Here we have then the bedroom, which comes with a dressing room, and perhaps there is also a shower room here in the back. So it is an interesting property. It has interesting design features. I can see that the garden is maybe not that big. How big is the plot of land? Is my next question. It is quite small, 2.8. So we are looking just under 3 Rs, which is not the best type of garden that you would want to offer at this price point, unfortunately. Okay, moving on to the next one. Now, this agency could overprice anything. So, same house, worse pictures. It's the same house. Okay, so they're in competition one with the other. So now I'm curious to see if they have the same prices. They do. Do they have the same square meters? They don't. Do they have the same bathtubs? They don't. Terrace, yes. Balcony, yes. No elevator. Cave, yes. So this is the typical issue that we get when there's multiple agencies on one single listing, is that we get differences in square meters. So this is probably not the full square meters, and these are actually the livable square meters like I just mentioned before. So this is an issue. This is something that you should definitely avoid. If you want to sell something, choose an agency that you trust, that you want to work with, and that you want to basically make sure that they can sell. You don't have to work with me. I'm not saying that this is a sales pitch. I'm just telling you that if you want to sell, Sell with one agency. It doesn't work with that agency, go on to the next agency. Don't take 50 agencies. So this is the third agency that has this property. And so we're basically trying to sell with everyone, and basically we are having a race towards the first offer and also the lowest price. Moving on to this property, 1.9. This is an older construction, 200 square meters, supposedly 5.7 Rs, and probably here we have to do a lot of renovation. And we've seen this agency before, and again, we get no pictures. I mean, what's the point? Why even post this? Okay, so here we have new construction, which is located in this area over here. So it should be towards the back end of Bridel. Yes, so this is where they are. These are the ones, I would guess. Quick look. Yes, they are. So, this is when we go a bit overboard with our pricing, okay? We are looking here at 2.2 million euro houses, which are not freestanding. So they are jumelés, meaning that the neighbor has the exact same house as you, somewhat, but it's just mirrored again. This is an issue. I'm not liking this. Why would you sell it this expensive? I get that it's Bridel, but you're going overboard with your pricing. Pipe it down, lower your price, and give us something normal. I don't care if it's 266 square meters. How many people in Luxembourg are willing to pay this? If they are not living in Bridel, why would they then buy there in Bridel when they can also for the same price buy something in Merle? Figure it out. Okay, we have 4 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms, so we have a lot of space in terms of amenities, but they're not selling. And my guess is that they've been there for a while. Hey, you know what? Actually, let's have a quick look and see when we passed here. They must be in this area and they have not been constructed yet. Okay, so this is 2024. Maybe these are the properties that we're talking about, but they are not existing. Okay, so they are not there. So not only, wait, this is the next house, isn't it? Looks like it, yeah. 2,690,000, like we don't have anything else to do in our lives but pay our mortgages. Is it the same house? It is not. Damn it. Okay, but let's have a look at the property anyways. So we are reaching towards the 3 million here. Like I said before, if we are going anywhere over 2 million, in my opinion, you should always offer a pool or at least a spa area. So let's have a quick look inside. New property. Everything is nearly done, but there's no kitchen. You still have the pleasure to choose one. But again, they chose the space for you. So again, you are limited in terms of what you can do. The island clearly has to be here. It's too late for you to change that now. Okay, neat property, I get it, but it's not worth that price. No matter how well your finishes are, which they are not, because the tint of this window is too dark for the floor coloring. So that is something that I would already say, why would you choose that, Mr. Developer? Here are more doors than I've ever seen in a hallway. It's new, but it's not worth that amount. Sorry, not gonna happen. Good luck to you. Here we are reaching then towards the end, and we have something which is way above anything else. 4,690,000. And this property only has 4 pictures. Why? This has a great view though, architect's home, no pool yet. On the inside, that looks pretty neat. What are we looking at here in terms of plot of land? Okay, so this is like the exclusive listing. We will only get you the information if you contact us first because we want to be in charge of everything. But let's just look at what we see right here. This looks really nice, right? But when I look at these switches, I can tell that this is old. And here we have exposed brick, which is an older design choice. The ceiling looks quite nice, and this piece of furniture was probably installed later or made to measure at a certain date later than the construction. It is a sunken floor, if I'm not mistaken, so I'm pretty sure that this was built maybe in the late 60s, because who has those anymore? We have a sauna, which is great, and you do have a pool. The pool has been emptied, but you can see from the bar here that this is old. It's been around for a while. They had some great disco nights in here. Maybe some swinger clubs came by, but to be honest, to be selling this with just 4 pictures at 4.7 is a bit outrageous. Okay, that was it. There are no other properties located in Bridel. Bridel is a great location. It is great for children because we do have a school. You can go to the European school quite quickly from the main road. So let me have a quick look back here so that I can show it to you. So the connections are great, right? Infrastructure just works because from this roundabout you just have to go through the woods, and over here we have then the shopping center Belle Étoile, and we have, let's see where it is. Here is the École Européenne. Here you have the Lycée Josie Bartel. And on the other hand, if you go down here, you get into Bereldange and Beggen and Walverdange, and this is where there's a lot of shops and you can do your grocery shopping over here. If you then go towards the south, you are pretty soon within the city. So it has a great location. The only thing that I'm actually missing in this area is child friendliness. There are kindergartens, I know, but I'm missing playgrounds, I'm missing space for children to just play, but they have some little ones and they have the forest, so that's a big plus. Unfortunately, I believe that Bridel, in terms of properties, is quite outdated and should be renovated. The prices are a bit out of hand on certain properties. Others you can quite easily fix up and basically rent them out to renters. So Bridel is a great location to be living in. It has a good proximity to the city. That's why people like it here. It is quiet, secluded, as long as you are not on the main street. So that's it for me. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to give me a like and a subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.